Let's talk about this podcast, Mama Knows Best. What has it been like working together sort of in this capacity? And I imagine learning new things about one another.
It's been interesting to say the least. I think it's way different than I thought it would be. I feel like a lot of people see us and like have their own interpretation of like our relationship and like kind of just things we've been through or done. And like now it's like a more in-depth version of that. So it's like the true, real, raw version of kind of topics that we talk about and life experiences we've had. And it's been really fun being able to do it with my mom, because if anyone knows me for who I am and like growing up, it was her. So
have you guys learned anything about one another in doing this?
I feel like, yeah, like
learned how to get on each other's nerves more.
Definitely that. She was already a pro at it, so it's only helping her.
Yeah, better, so much better.
But yeah, I mean, I've learned like small funny things. Like just recently we talked about like childhood crushes and things like that.
Are there any topics that are harder to discuss just because it is a mother-daughter conversation?
I feel like sometimes it can be a little weird or like uncomfortable, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's just a conversation and it's just kind of like giving ourselves the chance to be vulnerable. And like for me, it's the more like things that I don't want to talk about are like boys or whatever, but like on Mama Knows Best, like I've definitely opened up to her and like the audience, especially about kind of like my thoughts on relationships and my relationship experience and just things I've gone through emotionally and like figured out about myself. So I feel like it kind of just gave me a chance to be vulnerable about it and like really open up versus kind of covering it or like, you know, hiding it. It just gave me a chance to open up, and especially when we record it, it's just us two. So it's like very organic.
Sherry, what about for you? Are there any topics that are hard, even as her mom, to sort of dive into or dissect at all?
Maybe a little about the relationship things. That's kind of difficult, I guess, to share for each of us. That would be kind of difficult because of my relationships and hers, and you know, just being a teenager and some things that she never really wanted to share with me, but now it's coming out. She's sharing more with me.
Is there a dream guest or mother-daughter duo that you would love to have on the podcast?
Reese Witherspoon and her daughter Ava. That would be really cool.
I love Reese.
Yeah, I feel like that would just be like a really fun one, especially because I just haven't met Reese, and like she's just a really great actress, and I love Big Little Lies. I feel like that just makes me want to talk to her even more.
And I feel like she's quite the TikToker lately.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like, hey, it makes sense.
Yeah. What about Kourtney and Kris? Would you want them on the show? Have you talked to them about this?
I would totally love to have them on the show. I think it would be hilarious. I love Kourtney and Kris so much. So I'm sure it'd be really interesting to kind of compare like their relationship to ours and see things. But who knows in the future what that holds.
When I first met you, I mean, we kind of talked about this, but you were just blowing up. We were at the Hype House with you. What has it been like to sort of reach this new level of stardom, and what's been, I guess, the best part and what's been the hardest part for you?
I think the best part has just been the people that I've met and the connections I've made. The friendships that I have now and like are continuing to get are like such deep and fun and loving relationships, because I think everyone that I've met has kind of just had this same mindset and same goals, and it's super easy to relate to them. And I think the hardest part would probably be like just, I guess, the negativity. I feel like that's a pretty common answer, but I think just dealing with, you know, the fact that there are just going to be people that don't like you and will always have something negative to say about you. And I think a big part of that too was just kind of dealing with like the pressures of being so talked about on the internet at a time. That's been the hardest part, but there's so many good parts about this industry and the social media world that like it kind of just outweighs it. And at the end of the day, I have to look at the positive and not look at the negative. The positive has brought me so many great things.
I love how positive you are, and I feel like through this you've managed to keep a very good, solid head on your shoulders. What is the secret to that, and how will you continue to do that?
I think it's just taking a step back every once in a while and really looking at it from a different perspective, really just looking where you came from. And for me, that's my family. They're here, they're supporting me, they love me. And like, I've done so many great things in such a short amount of time. And I think it's just always about that, like stepping back, appreciating everything that you have and everything that you receive, and really just thanking everyone around you and appreciating them in their time too.
Sherry, is there anything that you want to add to that?
I just always want her to be grateful and thankful. That's very important to me.
Yeah. I think too, resilience is a big one for me. Like being able to bounce back, always just remembering that there is a brighter side to everything and that you can always get there. It's just sometimes you have to go through the hard times to get to the good times.
Let's talk about something super fun, and that's the walk challenge.
Now from the top, make it drop. That's some wet. Now get a bucket and a mop. That's some wet.
Addison, I just want your honest reaction to your mom doing it, because I was very impressed.
I was impressed too. I could never have imagined in my entire life, actually, that I would watch my mom do anything similar to that. Never thought I would see that, nor did I think I ever wanted to see that. But I will have to say it was entertaining, and you kind of did a great job, Mom, so I'm proud of you.
What was it like to see Cardi's response to your guys' walk challenges?
It was so cool. I thought it was so funny, and I'm glad she enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed watching hers too. But
I thought it was so cool and amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun.
TikTok, I mean, you are the highest paid person on the platform. When you heard that news, I mean, were you shocked? Were you in denial? Were you excited? Like, how did that feel?
It is pretty crazy. I mean, all of that is really crazy. And I feel like it's all just such a broad conversation though. You know, it's like at the end of the day, like we're all just having so much fun that we're not even focused on that. Like that's not one of our main, like, oh my gosh, I'm making this, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. It's really just us enjoying our time and like really taking in our opportunities.
Both of you guys have incredible platforms on there. Do you think there's a chance TikTok goes away on September 15th?
I didn't even know that.
There's a date.
There's a date? I did not know that. I don't know. Okay, now that you say that, didn't know that. But I will say that if it is safety concerns, there's really nothing, you know, to say back about that besides the fact that if it's keeping us safe and it's something about that, then it makes sense. But it would be a really, really sad day because that's where we started and we love TikTok so much. But at the end of the day, if it's for safety, we will continue working on our other projects.
What does the Addison Rae empire look like?
Yeah, it's really just a little bit of everything, you know? I have, you know, my merch with Fanjoy, and then I have my podcast, my makeup line, and then working on a lot of other exciting things coming up. And I think it's all just a part of the bigger picture and kind of just building this frame to who I am.
Apart from the merch, I feel like you're such a fashionista. Is a clothing line something that you would think about?
Yeah, so people could definitely argue that and say that my fashion sense is not the greatest on TikTok, because I
think it is.
Definitely, I love fashion so much. I think for my TikTok, sometimes I'm kind of random, but I think for me, I love doing things that almost like make people uncomfortable in a sense, like what is she wearing, or like what, I don't get it, you know? And then I feel like just testing like different waters in fashion is always so much fun, and kind of just discovering new things and trying things out. And I mean, they don't always work, don't get me wrong, but I think, yeah, it would definitely be a super fun conversation to have about fashion, and hopefully one day having something of my own, or even with my mom or my family, and continuing to expand our brand.
Is acting something that you're still interested in?
Yeah, I love to act. I've done lots of classes. I've read tons of scripts, you know, just done things that you do to prepare for that. And I think it's always a really exciting conversation and a long and very hard journey, but it's always worth it in the end. So hopefully that'll continue to be a part of my life, and maybe something big will come out of it.